Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, November 17, 2023, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Having a reverse aging health call tonight at around 9 p.m. Eastern. This is a massive universe, infinite all around us. Outer space extends far beyond what we can see with any device. Like a telescope which can view star systems 13 billion light years away. This incredible universe is also a living, breathing experience that extends infinitely within us. It continues deeper beyond the atomic quantum particles, which are amazing yet ancient electron microscopes can barely see. And when we look inside ourselves on a conscious level, using our mind to explore who we truly are, what we discover is yet another realm of infinity. We have memories piled upon memories and beliefs within beliefs, all stacked to infinity. For every new thought that is forming right now, there are a dozen new thoughts soon to follow. Just sit down on some lazy Sunday afternoon to spiritually investigate who you really are. And you'll find you can ascend and descend forever within the deepest realms of your very soul. However, what I find most fascinating inside of this infinite mystery is in the relationship that's manifesting between our inner world and the outer universe. It behaves something like a perpetual reflection in a mirror. Whatever is happening within our inner world is attracting, magnetizing, and manifesting what we are experiencing in our outer world. For example, if you're in a good mood today, and all you see are happy, smiling faces wherever you go, and amazing opportunities seem to effortlessly float your way, then if you fall down into an emotional dumpster, the faces of every person has nothing but gloom and doom smeared all over it. And it feels like your entire life is about to collapse. The law of attraction is unavoidable. Whatever we are feeling and feeding into emotionally on the inside is somehow always materializing in whatever we see, experience, and physically attract in our outer world. Another example of how the infinite reflection is showing up in our lives is how it manifests in our relationship with others. The more love, compassion, and acceptance we have for ourselves, the easier it is to have compassion, love, and acceptance for others. Or it's always that one thing which we absolutely dislike and cannot stand about the other, which is reflecting some part inside ourselves that we don't care to own or accept. Let's just say if you're upset at your neighbor or for being too dominating, controlling, and aggressive, instead of having compassion with them, then when you take a closer look inside yourself, you will see how you are not okay with those parts of yourself that feel too dominating, controlling, or aggressive. It's all a deep and yet transparent mirror. Our inner world is an extension of our outer universe. And the outer world is an extension of our inner universe. This means that life extends into infinity in every direction and dimension. Our inner and outer universes are never separate. Even though our physical body appears to be completely isolated, to be a completely isolated entity, it is not. We live in one sacred ocean of energy. There simply is just one universe that extends for infinity into the other realms in all directions and interdimensions. We contain the wet and salty qualities of the entire ocean, and yet are just a single drop in it. And the oceanic waves are always moving us and flowing through us, as us. The essential problem I find most people are having with life is that they are not reaching deep enough inside themselves to reconnect with their actual living, breathing, infinite spiritual essence. Our spiritual nature is a real thing. It is our most basic reality. It is what keeps our heart beating, our breath breathing, and our life force moving through us in every moment of existence. We don't have to breathe. Our body does it for us. The same as with our spiritual essence. It is living and creating through our physical body, unfolding its essential karmic programming within this great cosmic playground. It's good to know that suffering happens only when the mind gets in the way. When we become overly focused on thoughts and material things that make us feel limited or time-bound, we start believing we only have limited options. The realm of the infinite fades into the background of the finite. And we start thinking everyone is living in a very small, contracted world. When we only focus on our needs, we forget how to connect with the soul of others. If we are always thinking about money and more material possessions, we cannot see or feel the infinite reality that is beneath it all. A majority of this rat race is trapped in thinking about time-bound appointments, which causes consciousness to squeeze itself into a tiny temporal boxes. Let's say 4:30 p.m. With this deadline coming, we just don't have time to feel what eternity is like. When we only live in a limited tick-tock, 24-hour clock world that is consumed with resources around money and material items, we instantly start feeling disconnected from the infinite, eternal being we actually are. This addictive dwelling of the mind on what is not infinite or eternal is what makes us feel spiritually disconnected from every living being on this planet today. We were all born, so to speak, with a limited time-bound physical body so that we could acquire a contrasting perspective and experience ourselves as the infinite, eternal being we actually are. We have the capability to create, manifest, and experience anything we desire. We are all the children of a great universal consciousness, God, that is impregnated with unlimited potentiality. If all this talk about the infinite is expanding our mind too much to handle today, just remember that your inner world is always impacting and manifesting something in your outer world. Every thought you believe to be true is what is creating your reality. Our thoughts are always flowing through us and are always creating everything in our life. We will become whatever we think in the future. So be aware of your innermost thoughts, and yet somehow remain non-attached. Your thoughts are not who you truly are. You are an eternal, infinite consciousness who is beyond form and time. You are pure awareness reflecting back on itself in this physical universe of space and time. So let go of thoughts that were cycling in your mind yesterday and ideas about the way life should turn out for you tomorrow. Be here now. Now is the moment of power. Now is where enlightenment is discovered. For physically, we are forever forced to exist in this present moment. Our present awareness is always being generated from this present moment. Know this and live and breathe within this knowing. If we want our life to be smoother, fuller, more in touch with utter bliss, then get in touch with your eternal essence. Let go of any limiting thoughts that you have and drop into the knowingness that you are an infinite soul who will never die. If you crave for some secure life that is easy and light, give that experience to yourself on the inner world within first. Find out how to soothe yourself emotionally, giving deep, robust, tingling sensations in every corner of your body, mind, spirit. This great experience of divinity is always available and ready for us to take into the higher dimension. Our greatest life is ready for us here now. To open yourself up. Welcome it in. You will find the infinite within the finite. Trust the process. Breathe it in. Enjoy every breath you are giving. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Buddha. There are as many great truths in our universe as there are stars in the sky, and yet, just like the billions of trillions of stars that exist, not all truths are created equal. This universe is not just made of black and white colors. We see that at night when you don't have a lot of light pollution, right? Which means that the light emits from the ground and it changes the atmosphere above it so that you can't see many stars or constellations. But when you can, And you could imagine if you could zoom right up to the star, you would see cosmic colors vibrating throughout space. Everybody believes that the sky is black, but it really isn't. Because there's light particles of varying colors and formations in the night sky. Remember, light travels. And you may see a light that was expressed from a star system 100,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, a million years ago. And it's just now getting to your eyes. We all live in a highly diverse intelligence system, which contains various degrees of truth. And so not every truth will impact us the exact same way. The bigger a truth is, the more it will expand our reality. The smaller a truth is, the more it will shrink and contract our experience of this life. Good news is that we don't have to decide what is a big truth and what is a small truth. Our physical body will let us know. For our heart is the best guide for seeing how expansive our contracted a truth actually is. Whenever we discover a larger, more profound truth in this life, a little miracle happens. Everything that once felt hard, heavy, and stuck inside us suddenly becomes exalted and liberated. We feel lighter than air and are filled with a natural, spontaneous joy inside, which flows as freely as the wind. The mind stops thinking, and we experience our own source of consciousness. From here, we see life from a much more expanded perspective. And it can happen within milliseconds. One of the biggest truths that one may ever have uncovered along their path was the first lesson in the Course of Miracles. And it simply states, that which is real cannot be threatened, and that which is unreal does not exist. It may take some of us many months to spiritually digest this enormous truth in our minds and root it throughout our life. The more you sit with it, the deeper it transforms your entire way of viewing yourself, others, and the world. That which is real cannot be threatened. Think about this. What is it that feels threatened inside you? What is this personality, self, ego, or the thing you call you, which depends or defends itself when feeling attacked or provoked? What is this little you who has a need to be on guard and protect itself, trying to assist itself, and attempting to achieve something important or worthwhile with their life? And then, who is this overly strong, confident, all-important you who compensates for the super small, unimportant you? It's the one who has been attempting to make your life secure by feeling self-important, accomplished, met in deep embrace by their beloved, and all the while is feeling a deep and constant separation from God. The good news in all of this is that who we truly are has nothing to do with who and what we think we are. Whatever we may think of and conceive of about ourselves with the mind can only be a thought. And this little thought is too small to be who or what we are. Who and what we really are is behind any spiritual understanding of the mind. In this moment, this very moment, and only this moment, we can find what is actually real. And this real thing is the only thing that liberates us and binds us at the same time. That which is real, the real you, does not change. And this essence is what remains the same for all eternity. That which is real, the real you, does not change. And this essence is what remains the same for all eternity. Perhaps the most pivotal, enlightening truth one can discover is understanding how all identification with the ego is based in some form of fear. If we are not experiencing a state of oneness, unity, love, connection, relaxation, and bliss, we are hanging out in some quality or version of fear. The ego is clinging to some thought or a process of thoughts which believes deep down that it is not one with the divine. It thinks it is not loved, accepted, embraced, or enlightened. The more creative you become, the more godly you become. When your creativity comes to a climax, when each moment of your life is filled with creativity, you live in God. Osho. Enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Everybody asks, what is enlightenment? What actually is enlightenment? It is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. The enlightened state is a pure seeing, understanding how the ego is the greatest illusion of them all, to intimately know and become identified with the real self, that which cannot be threatened, is the only true path to total freedom there is. All other paths lead to some form of suffering. It requires no basic standard of ethics, codes, or spirituality or religious background needed to arrive. We simply experience ourselves as the essence of consciousness that we naturally are. Now, the ego is who we think we are. Okay? The ego is who we think we are. It has a tad truth to it. It's just not a very big truth. It's a smaller truth which only castrates our ability to expand into love, trust, and a feeling of oneness. Ego is a fear-based program. Ego is a program that is based in the opposite experience of trust. Remember that. Ego is a fear-based program that is based in the opposite experience of trust. Why do you think this planet is in the condition it's in? Whenever we are living in trust 24 hours a day, we start accessing all the wisdom and knowledge known to all the saints, masters, enlightened beings throughout existence. We step into the greatest experience of our lives. We find our real true selves and know that we are the real masters of our destiny. Many of us believe that we are guided by something, right? Well, we are, our pure consciousness within these bodies. That's who we're guided by. And our pure consciousness, or the God, is who we really are. Some of us believe that there's a power outside of us, right? And this power is omnipotent. It watches us and does many things. And the funny thing about that belief is that we are the power. When we know our real nature, we can allow this life to play its ego personality role through us. And somehow not get in the way. We can sit back, go with the flow, and enjoy the ride. We can remain fascinated by this life, learning how we are here to serve others, take care of our body, and simply let the all-intelligent life force move through us. This state of perpetual enjoyment of this life is real mastery. When we remain free from all forms of ego identification, we cannot help but to enjoy all aspects of this life. We allow a greater love to always guide our course and help us live with ease and grace in every way. See, it's like we're spectators without judgment. And we've got this big easy chair and we're sitting back in it and we're watching everything flow. But we're not obstructing it. And we're in a deep relaxation. And so the ego plays its games through the body. And we're watching all of that. Taking this in, that in, maybe taking a couple of notes here and there. And watching everything flow. We're not interrupting. We watch all these thoughts flow by like a river. Right? And we're not picking them up, trying them on, and experiencing them because we see them and we say, I'm not interested in those thoughts. I'll generate my own thought of something that I am interested in or can learn from. This is how we become the master and not the slave. Because when we step away from the ego, which is a program, this is where all of our insecurities, all of our doubt, all of our fear, all of our lack of trust in ourselves and the universe, this is where it all stems from. The program called ego. Now, most of us would not understand or believe that the ego is actually a program. And not only that, that it isn't real. But yet, look at its power over this civilization forever. When we stay in the field of awareness in the material physical world, then we are slaves to our ego. And we live out our lives in these bodies under the direction and guidance of the ego, the program called ego. How do we know this? How do we know it's just not a bunch of made-up stuff? When you sit back and you view, without judgment, this entire civilization, you begin to realize that it has been enslaved by a program called ego. Haven't we? And where we have experienced ourselves the power of ego. We all have. And none of us are exempt from it. The wonderful thing about it is that we're beginning to understand that that's what it is. It is in us. We're moving out of believing that the ego is us and starting to figure out that pure consciousness is who and what we are. Pure consciousness. Now, when you do begin to embrace that and understand it, and you look deeper into it with a childhood curiosity, then you begin to, things clear, and you begin to understand things more openly and not guarded and not protected. You understand that all this energy, all around us, through us, everywhere, is pure consciousness. This is why you're able, when you discover this and you begin to practice it, of course through the heart-mind, you start to realize that the abundance and the happiness and the joy and the bliss, all of it, is you. Not the body, you. You're this constant flow of pure energy. You're connected to everything, everyone. You can plug in, and it's there now. It's not something that has to be hooked up. It's there now for all of us. When we begin to tap into it, then we discover who and what we are. And we flow everywhere. How do you think it's so easy, once you get to that understanding, to manifest anything? It is, and to begin to master the ego mind, so you know now that this, I'm not the ego mind, I am the God, which is a big difference. And what is the God? Pure consciousness. In this body, of course. Experiencing this body, of course. But you're not the body. And see, that's been very confusing for the civilization for hundreds of thousands of years. Because none of us are the body. It's no different than you get in your vehicle and you take a drive. Are you the vehicle? Okay? No. That's pretty obvious, right? Are you the vehicle? No. But you're the one driving the vehicle. Exactly. So you determine where you're going to turn left, you're going to turn right, you're going to go forward. You determine how fast you go through this life. Are you going to go so fast that you can't even see the beauty along the way that you are? Or are you going to just kind of saunter down the road and look at everything and realize the majesty that you are? The mountains, sunsets, trees, the animals, everything. This is the God that we are. All of it. How is it that isn't it fascinating that we believe that we're the ego? Most of the people on this planet believe they're the ego. And yet, how do you think a planet's created? How are stars created? And believe you me, the human description is as the Big Bang. That's a good belly laugh. So how was all this created? Universes, galaxies, nebulas. You're the pure essence, the pure energy. You're the God. You're the kingdom of God within the body. You're the heaven. You're all those things. It isn't overwhelming because, when you look at that in your own time, you begin to realize that's what you really are. And then things begin to shift in your life, in the material physical world, because you then begin to realize that out there is the God that I am. That's created by the actual essence and energy so that I, the God, the pure consciousness, can experience. Any civilization throughout all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, the only way that civilization evolves and continues for eternity is by discovering who and what it is. Now, when a civilization is heavily steeped in the ego, the program, many civilizations have been programmed with the ego. They go extinct. They cease eventually. You see the difference? We have the ability to shift anything we desire. There's really no argument there with that. We come into these bodies. We're not born. We come into them. The bodies are provided through what? Male-female interaction? Egg, sperm? The bodies are provided for us. The mother sustains that body with her soul light energy. Hell, we come in it. Then we take over. And when we enter the body, we take on many things. Isn't it fascinating that the reason we enter physical life is because we experience that physical life, however it may be. And we expand. So we enter these bodies specifically to discover who and what we are, who and what we truly are. Now, people say, well, then why doesn't the whole civilization do that? Because of how they're programmed in the beginning. And you can actually see from your God perspective where the civilization would be today had every one of us been introduced when we first entered the body, and then on from there about who and what we really are. Can you imagine where this civilization would be today? It would be absolutely magna glorious. And that is where we have been missing the link. Catapult us way beyond from where we are now. That's the missing key. When we come in, we incarnate, and we are programmed the same way, with a little bit here and there different, that we were the last time, with no memory. So we're like heat and repeat. We just continually repeat the same process. And in a lot of cases, we live the life, we exist in the physical material world that's similar to past lives, but not quite the same. And this is why. We, all of us, are the real masters of our destiny. Not something out there, not something outside of us, as man would try to convince us of, because we are not man. We are not humanity. We are experiencing humanity and experiencing mankind. Those are the vessels. They're not us. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Through inner peace, outer power is generated. With inner freedom, boundless love is created. Meditate on pure consciousness. Feel the inner peace and the outer power. You will discover your divinity. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here tonight for the Reverse Aging Health Call, Friday, November 17th, around 9 p.m. Eastern. We will return here Saturday, November 18th, 2023, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what is going on within you or outside of you.